Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending. Tonight's Tuesday, June 10th, 6 p.m. Town of Grand Rapids board meeting is called to order. First three items will be public hearings that we will bring forth to the public. We'll explain them as the best we can and then give you opportunity to speak for or against them. And then as the regular agenda item opens up, the board will take their action on the items. First item would be an application from James Schoenig, 5031 Griffith Avenue, for approval of a certified survey map. The CSM will affect current parcels 0700771, 0700771K, and 0700771E, being part of the southwest one quarter of section 26, township 22, north range 6 east. The CSM will change the size of all three existing parcels and will involve dedication 73 feet of road right away. All right. Let's see. We should take that one first, right? All right. Mr. Schoenig is changing some lot sizes to accommodate another household on the property. Some of the lots were changed to retain his agricultural land acreage that he needs, which is 5 acres. And then the other parcels were modified to 50 road dedication. So at this time, I'll ask if anybody is here to speak against the Jim Schoenig CSM. Anyone here to speak against the Jim Schoenig CSM? Third and final time, anybody wishing to speak against the Jim Schoenig CSM? Hearing none, anybody wishing to speak in favor of the CSM? Mr. Schoenig is here, and I assume he's in favor. Anybody else to wish to speak in favor? Third and final time, anybody wish to speak in favor of the CSM? I will thereby close public hearing number 1, move to public hearing number 2, which is the application of James Schoenig, 5031 Griffith Avenue for rezoning and comprehensive plan review. This rezoning will affect the current parcel of 0700771, currently zoned agricultural to residential R2 on the 2.1 acre parcel. The other request is to rezone the existing 0.58 acre parcel, 0.58 acre, number 0700771K, from its current R2 to Ag, after it is joined with the remaining parcel 0700771 and part of parcel 0700771E, which results in encompassing 5.4 acres. Okay, so you follow what took place there is the modifications of the zoning on particular parcels so that Jim could maintain his over 5.4 acre parcel then for agricultural zoning to remain in effect. If it was less than 5 acres, it wouldn't then have to be rezoned something else. So again, anybody wish to speak against the rezoning and the comprehensive plan review? Anybody wish to speak against the rezoning and the comprehensive plan review? Anybody wish to speak against the comprehensive plan review and the rezoning? Hearing none, anybody wish to speak in favor of the rezoning and the comprehensive plan review? Anybody wish to speak in favor of the rezoning and the comprehensive plan review? Third and final time, anybody wish to speak in favor of the rezoning and the comprehensive plan review? Hearing none, I'll call that public hearing closed and move to the next public hearing, which is Harold Altenberg County Market LLC for a conditional use permit for a temporary canopy to be fried shade for seasonal sale of strawberries and produce at 4777 8th Street South, being part of lots 6 and 7, Peterson subdivision, CSM 743. I think there was a slight change in that patio. The Plan Commission did approve it to be a 20.
They had a maximum size of 20 by 40, not to exceed.
Okay.
They also had,
That would be needed for the public hearing.
Oh, okay.
Just for the board decision.
all right.
All right, so Harold Altenberg, and this property is the chiropractor property, which would be between Quick Trip and the building, in the grass, where it's been, at some parts of the year, it's been Christmas tree sales, or for that matter, the Assumption would have fireworks sales at that time. That's the parcel that he's looking to put this on. So anybody wish to speak against Mr. Harold Altenberg getting this conditional use permit? Anybody wish to speak against? Third and final time, anybody wish to speak against? First time, anybody wish to speak in favor of Harold Altenberg getting the conditional use permit? Go ahead, ma'am.
I'm in favor of supporting the buy local, and with Harold putting out his tent, he will be doing that. I think it's important for people to know where their food comes from, and it's important for government to help support agriculture wherever it can. And the window of opportunity for something such as strawberries to sell that fresh is so small that it's very important for that to be able to make it easy for the people to get to, and handy for them on their way home, and their people's times are very short, so it's very important to have that. And then even the amount of time to sell other kind of produce is so short to keep it fresh, and it is very important to sell it when you can, have the opportunity, because that's the difference between profit and loss. And the way farming is now, so hard to do to generate profit with all the rules and regulations that are out there for farmers. We need to do whatever we can to support someone who wants to keep on working. Farming isn't hard, and very few people are really wanting to go in and work that hard anymore.
Okay, and we need for tape, the record needs to have your name, ma'am.
Natalie Ranke.
Thank you very much. Anybody else wish to speak in favor of? Anybody else wish to speak in favor of? If I did do it third and final time, anybody else wish to speak in favor of it? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearings closed. Move to the regular agenda items. And the first agenda item would be approve the agenda for the meeting. Any discussions? Hearing none, I'll move to
Mr. Chairman.
Oh, sorry, didn't hear you.
On the item on sexually orientated businesses, do we have enough information at this meeting to discuss that?
Up for you to decide once you get to that agenda item.
It's a renewal that they've had for the past couple of years.
Okay.
And if the answers can't be found from of anybody, any source here, if you wish to table it,
Okay.
so.
Thank you.
And hearing no other notes, then we'll move to item 2, which is approve the minutes of the May 13th and 15th town board meetings. Anybody wishing to begin?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for the May 13th and 15th town board meeting.
Motion, Dan, second. Patty?
I just have a question.
Go ahead.
On one. I have a question on the quick claim deed that was issued, and it was my motion. The motion did not say that we were purchasing this for road purposes. We were purchasing this, and you got a response, and your response was, the elector's approval is not needed, even if buying land, as long as it's for town right-of-way purposes. I did not know that that's why we were buying that land. According to the discussion, it was because we were alleviating a flooding problem on somebody's land.
Not on somebody's land, the cul-de-sac, and let me clear the record for you, Bill, we're not buying it. It was given to us at no cost to us. Our only cost, we didn't purchase the land, we received the land, as our portion of it would be to file the paperwork on it with the register deed and do the quitclaim deed through our attorney. That was pretty clear with what I made in that motion when we had the discussion. So the conversation that I had, that I thought you were asked me to follow up with the town official was that the proper procedure? And that's what I came back with.
So what are you saying that the motion was supposed to be, Bill?
Well, the motion was not to purchase land for town right-of-way, for road right-of-way.
That's not what the minutes say.
But that was the question, obviously, that was asked, and that's not what I was asking.
We're discussing approving the minutes. Are you telling me that my minutes are wrong?
No, I have comments on the minutes.
Okay. Otherwise, I need to correct the minutes if you're saying they're wrong.
Any other comments on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I have an aye, any opposed? All right, we'll move to item 3 is approval of resolution 2014-11, and that's on the inside of your packets where the hearing was on, just so you're aware where those are. Certified survey map for James Shanahan parcel 0700771 and 0700771K and 0700771E, and accepting dedication of 73 foot of road right-of-way. So that's your resolution 2014-11 is in front of you now.
I will make a motion to approve the resolution 2014-11.
I'll second it.
Motion Bill, second Dan, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I have an aye, any opposed? Item 4, approval of resolution 2014-12, approving the rezoning of parcels 0700771 from ag to R2 and .58 acre from R2 to ag, after joining with parcel 0700771, resulting in the 5.4 acres. Now, here's one thing to bring up to that the discussion was at Plan Commission, and this is a comprehensive plan review, and the Plan Commission indicated what, Patty, that it did not need to have, it met the comprehensive plan as.
Right. The comprehensive plan has indicated that area to be a high residential area, that the comprehensive plan will be, is utilized for even like 20 years down the road. And we feel that the way that this is set up, that it will still be able to be utilized down the road for development or whatever they may decide to do down the road. So we, at this point, feel that the comprehensive plan does not have to be changed.
All right, anybody wishing to put the motion forward?
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 2014-12.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion Dan, second Kathy, discussion? Bill?
Lot 1, is there expected to be a building built on lot 1?
Which one, the back lot?
Yes, the back lot.
Yes. They're talking about moving the house in.
And you will own the land, and there'll be somebody, or
Well, it'll be my house to begin with.
is there also a building on lot 2?
The original building is there.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? Approval of resolution 2014-16, approving a conditional use permit for Harold Altenberg's Country Markets LLC for temporary 20 by 40 approximate canopy to provide shaded or seasonal sale of strawberries, produce at 4777 Main Street South. Any discussion, or is there a motion to come forward?
At this point, do I make the motion and then we go to discuss the changes that the plan commission?
I would make the motion with noting the changes that the Plan Commission.
So I'll make the motion to approve Harold Altenberg's, Altenberg County Gardens LLC conditional use permit for a temporary canopy not to exceed 20 by 40 maximum area, to be utilized for 120 days, and also to be erected in the same location of 4777 A Street South, being lots 6 and 7 of Peterson subdivision, WCSM number 743, for the purpose of selling strawberries and produce.
And it would not require an annual renewal.
That is, oh, that's correct, and it would not require an annual renewal.
All right, is there a second to that?
I'll make a second to that.
Okay. And obviously that part of it was finished up last night, the Plan Commission to move this process along where they're, like normally, town government moves pretty slow, but in this attempt for us and have strawberries, which hopefully will be in any day, the board chose to let the Plan Commission take a look at it and we'd operate on it. They made minor changes in the decision, giving him 120 days window of time to sell it, not saying when he has to start or not when he wins. He could start for 60 days and maybe stop for 20 or 30 days and then want to start up later in the fall for another 60 days. So the period of time that he's being approved by the Plan Commission, I believe that was there.
Right, that was the intent of that, and also the intent, the original public hearing was a temporary area of 10 by 20, but we wanted to allow him room for expansion to have additional stands if he needed an area of 20 by 40. So it would be an area of 2 10 by 20 canopies that he would be able to utilize. The reason why I indicated same location is because of the fact that it is a pretty big area or a pretty big lot. So we want to ensure that we can anticipate or expect that his particular canopy will be, you know, in the same place of that area that they decide. Another thing that was brought up at the Plan Commission was there is another tent that sells fireworks on the premises, and they don't feel that that would be conflicting or interfere with one another, the two tents being on the same property. Or I should say canopies, not tents.
Will it be up at the same time?
Possible.
Possibly in July.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, you can get some strawberries with some little sparkles.
Tied to a firecracker.
I will second her motion.
Okay.
I already did.
Dan already did, sorry, Bill.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was in the discussion, Patty was enlightening us as to the total take of the attention of the Plan Commission, so any further discussion?
Quick question, if you could clarify for me again. So you said it's a maximum of 120 days that the tent will
Seasonal.
sit there, or that the tent will be in use?
Well, the intent was 120 days to allow Mr. Altenberg to have a tent or canopy up. So he could actually erect the tent in May and have it there for 30 days, and then take it down, and then decide he's gonna sell the fall produce,
Okay.
and then have that for the extra 3 months. So he actually isn't allowed to have it up for a total of 120 days, which would be 4 months.
Okay,
We felt that instead of, when we first spoke about this, we talked about having the motion as far as growing season, but then it was felt that the tents or canopies, are just not a very strong structure, so
that's
that's
makes
why we
sense.
went that way,
And then,
putting a minimum.
why did the Plan Commission decide that it does not need an annual review or an annual approval process?
There was sort of a precedence that was set with the fireworks.
Their permit
Yeah,
was
they're-
first generated in 1997. It's a long time ago,
Right.
whatever it was, when Carl Rail was still here. And in Carl Rails, the Plan Commission at that time indicated that they did not need to come in for an annual renewal.
Okay,
Right, so we followed that decision that was made back in 1997.
okay.
All right, anything else, Bill?
And the Christmas tree sales is permitted because it's not an agricultural vegetable or produce?
Well,
Do they get a permit to sell?
they must have had a permit. You'd have to ask the building inspector if he had.
No, last night that was discussed, correct?
I don't know, was it Patty? And I don't
It
know.
wasn't really confirmed that if
They
there
don't put up
was.
a canopy.
Right, and I think that's why we didn't pursue that as far as a permit required for the Christmas trees.
Okay, we're related to the comments that were made during the public hearing about, Mr. Albert had to pay $75 to have a conditional use permit to put this on somebody else's land.
Correct.
And, if I had a large garden and wanted to sell vegetables in my front yard, it would cost me $40, huh? I have to have a permit to sell, correct? And sign?
No, you don't have a permit to sell rummage sale stuff, would you? It's the same thing, isn't it?
And I guess that's my point. I guess that's my point,
But
because he's in the business, he had to pay $75. It's a comment that Harold made last night at the meeting, we keep penalizing farmers.
well, it's a comprehensive, it's a conditional use for that property. That's the reason that the building inspector said it required. The precedent was back in whatever the first one was issued for, the fireworks display, whatever year that was, and that's exactly what it was.
Okay, so I just think it's something that should be looked at.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I have an aye, any opposed? Thank you. Bring on those berries, Harold.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move to item 6, which is the public comment period. People wishing to address the board will be limited to 2 minutes each, with public comment limited to a total of 30 minutes. Anybody this evening wish to speak? Go ahead, sir.
Name, please.
Fellow residents, Carl
Name
Herman,
for the record. Okay, thank you.
3140 Eagle Road.
If you want to move the cameras there, you can, you don't have to go there, but
It's all right, I'll go here. Just want to make the announcement that I am running for Wood County Sheriff, and I am currently on the ballot. So I would appreciate any support that I could get from you, and I'd like to thank you in advance.
thank you.
I'd also like to thank my wife Gail for doing all the hard work in collecting all these signatures, because it wasn't very easy. So, because I did a few myself, and I know how it was. Again, I thank you very much. I won't take up any more of your time, and have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else wishing to speak? Mr. Layton? I should let you announce yourself, I mean.
I will. Gil Layton, 2741 32nd Street South. I wanted to address the board regarding the request that's again on the agenda regarding ATV use on town roads. The last time that came up, I sent all of you some information regarding statutes and design guidance for that type of thing. I would hope that maybe our police department might want to pipe in on this tonight too. I know they didn't the last time. We're really opening up a can of worms if we allow this. It's not a good idea from a safety aspect or from potentially town liability. What happens if some kid out there on a bicycle is killed and hit by an ATV? One of the real issues here is ATVs can be operated by children without a license. So we're talking about allowing them on a town road that carries as much traffic as a lot of state trunk highways. There's a problem there. Most townships that allow ATV trails on town roads do so only on very low volume roads, very little traffic, and in most cases they're gravel or unpaved roads. I'm not sure why Saratoga went the route they did, but again, I think there's going to be problems there, and I don't think Grand Rapids should get into this at all, so. Enough said, if you have some questions when it comes up, feel free to ask.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak? Go ahead, you can stay right there if you wish.
Bernie Scully, 1021 Woodrock Avenue. There was some no parking signs installed in front of my home a week or so ago. I was just curious what brought them about, or if there was ever a meeting for discussion on them, or what actually brought them about.
This is your discussion, so I guess I really can't answer your question, but I can tell you about it if you wish to stay around. It
Sure.
did go through the legal process through our system, and there was a request to.
Sure.
Anybody else wishing to speak to the board?
Yeah,
Or the public?
I would like to speak on the issue of the parking.
Go ahead, for your name for the record, please.
My name is Robin Nicholson. I live at 1020 Whitrock Avenue. Ever since the old folks home was put in on Whitrock, we've had a kind of a parking situation. We have people walking and going up and down the road in wheelchairs and these little hover rounds. Then all of a sudden, with the new neighbor came a parking problem. Well, with this parking problem, we tried to discuss it and even offered our property as a place to park to solve the problem, which was not the solution. So actually everybody on the street agreed to give up their parking to solve this parking problem, which I went around the neighborhood. I have every signature, which is on the north side of the road except for the Scullys. And Mr. and Mrs. Arndt, because, you know, they have to live next to the parking problem, so I didn't want to involve them. But on the south side, I have everybody's signature, phone number, that they agree that we should have no parking signs on both sides of the road. When these people go one way, they got to travel facing traffic. When they go back, they got to face traffic. Now, there's been 3 incidents of people almost getting seriously hurt due to this parking problem. And the neighborhood pretty much all agrees, sign, phone numbers. We want no parking signs on both sides of the street. You know, these people can't get out of the car's way. And if you have one in the street, you actually end up with 2 people trying to get to that free spot to pass at the same time. Just, you know, how, you know, people are, you know, you're trying to get through that area, you know.
Okay, I understand your request, and if you want to give that to me, I'll request that our legislative committee take a look at it.
And the only one that's not on there is 891, and the Novaks own it, and that's their rental.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Anybody else wish to speak to the board or to the public? With that, I'll call the public hearing portion closed, then move to the Monthly reports, Fire Chief Don Bone.
Good evening, board, town residents. Since our last meeting a month ago, fire department is still staffed with 55 people. Like I always said, there's room for more if people are interested due to upcoming hopeful retirements. So, if anybody's interested in serving as police or fire, I mean, not police, I guess we can't hire a policeman.
They're close.
Whether it's fire or EMS service, feel free to contact me. Since last month, we did have 28 calls for service. 20 of those were EMS calls. That's a big portion of what we do. Go out on all the ambulance calls with United Ambulance. We did respond to one structure fire in the town of Saratoga, not in our contract area. There's mutual aid with Nakusa. We did have a RIT activation for our RIT team, our rapid intervention team, down to a structure fire in Wisconsin Rapids. I believe it was at an apartment complex on the west side of Rapids. We did have 3 false alarms, which were either medical alert type of alarms or just residential alarm malfunctions, or basically false alarm. And we did have 3 motor vehicle accidents. One was actually a fairly minor one, 2 were quite severe accidents in our area, 1 fatality out on Highway 54. So did have some pretty busy month for us, not in the fire side of things, but usually we like to keep it that way. Obviously with the rain we haven't had a whole lot of grass fires, but that can dry up in a quick hurry around here. So our training for the month, our RIT team is still working with some of our newer members on their RIT protocols and things that they do as that special response crew. The EMS will be meeting Thursday night, basically going over all of our equipment, our lifting procedures, and just working on our basic assessments as to what they do when they are making the initial response to your house to try to help you when you call for an ambulance. Fire department, we're going to be going over to the Golden Eagle Log Home facility. It's a very large structure in our township, multiple structures, a lot of potential hazards there. We'll be working in their facility with ourselves and the Burin Fire Department, and as you'll see earlier or later in the agenda, they do actually have a house that will be tore down that they've offered to us to use for a training exercise, and hopefully we'll be able to use that for the remainder of the year until they obviously want it tore down before the end of the year. So that's going to encompass our training for the month. Obviously we had our monthly meetings and our work details and stuff. Our new system seems to be working out fairly well. We're starting to figure out ways of minimizing the number of nights that our volunteers are required to come down to work on the trucks, do truck maintenance, station maintenance, things of that nature. We're trying to incorporate that into our business meeting nights, so it's one less night they have to spend away from their families or their employers and stuff like that. So we've had a very favorable response from the firemen in regards to that change, and hopefully we can continue to keep people interested in volunteering their time. Our public relations for the month, we're very happy to announce that we had applied for a grant with the Riverview Foundation. We're looking at upgrading our RRV, which is our 6-wheel Ranger that we have for, we use it for searches, rescues. We do it for a lot of EMS calls if somebody's hurt in a remote area that we can't get an ambulance to them. We did apply to the Riverview Foundation to make some changes to that where we can actually it'll actually receive an ambulance cot. So if we have you treated on that cot, we take you off our cot, put that cot right into the ambulance. We no more transferring of people. Plus we can give you a lot better patient care, a whole lot better ride than what we were able to accomplish. So really have to thank the Riverview Foundation for awarding us the grant. There is still some extra matching of funds that we have to come up with a little bit more money. The fire department has decided that out of our celebration funds, we'll come up with half of the money that's still needed to do the project, and United Ambulance will be doing the remainder of it. So it's going to be a good tool. Hopefully it's a tool we don't use every day, but believe me, if you have to ride on it, you'll appreciate the extra comfort. So definitely want to thank Riverview. It's a great community organization that they support, and they support a lot of different functions with that foundation they operate. I'm going to take one away from Mel. Mel and myself had attended a arson and fire investigation training course up in Stevens Point last week. 2.5 days of training up there is put on by the Wisconsin Arson Investigation Group. Very eye-opening as far as procedures, requirements for investigating fires. You don't think arson is a very prevalent thing in our area, but it very well can be. There's just a lot of extremely good training, very good networking to determine what assets the state fire marshal division and Department of Justice has available to us. It was a very well spent 2.5 days up in Stevens Point. So, and that was actually funded through the local Wood County chapter of the Fire Investigation Task Force. So, very enlightening. Sure. It's amazing what dogs can find. I guess other than that, we are having our celebration on June 22nd. I don't know how many years exactly it is. It's got to be pushing 45, somewhere in there. Down at the Lions Club again, we will be starting at 8 o'clock for pancake breakfast and going until approximately 10 o'clock at night. A few different things this year. We're having lawnmower racing, quite a big group. I heard potentially 45 lawnmowers showing up for this, so I guess that's quite the spectacle to come and watch. And I guess appreciate everybody's support to come out. And it's one of our only major, or it's our major fundraiser for the year, and appreciate any support we can get. And there are tickets available from any firefighter, or the front office has them available if you're interested in stopping in. Questions?
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to know when you're planning on burning that house down. I've got a big bag of marshmallows. And I'm waiting to melt some.
Okay. Well, like I said, I guess, it's a potential that it'll be burnt down. It might be tore down. There's a lot of requirements that are required to do that.
I'll be watching.
Yeah, it's, like I say, every time we've ever burnt one, we've had a very large audience watching from a safe distance. It is amazing. People don't realize the magnitude of how a fire grows and progresses, and it's a real eye-opener when you see us start that fire and how fast it goes from just barely getting started to fully engulfed. So, no, we will definitely. They just did one Saturday up in Wausau, and I know they had quite the crowd there too. So,
Does the DNR have to approve that?
yes. There's a regular protocol. There's a lot of DNR permitting, asbestos, but asbestos abatements, all the other things. And there's more requirements if it's burnt down than tore down, as far as the asbestos abatement and stuff like that.
Does the fire department then have to clean it up or the?
Nope.
No.
Nope. And I guess we can discuss it it's actually one of the agenda items, correct?
Great.
Oh, okay.
It says in the front, I thought it was here.
Any other questions? If not, Chief, do you want to move to your safety department?
Yep, safety department, we haven't had any work injuries. Sat down this morning with the road crew, had a tailgate meeting and things of that nature. Encourage them to stay safe in their activities. Actually went over a lot of the bloodborne pathogen issues and stuff that we sometimes arise, and especially out in car accidents and stuff, sometimes our road crew gets asked to do some of the cleanup work and things of that nature, and want to make sure that they're aware of some of the things that they're potentially with blood and different issues that they might be asked to help with and stuff, so we stay on top of that.
Any questions? If not, thank you, Chief. We'll move to the police department. Al Peterson.
Good evening, everyone. May was a very busy month for the Grand Rapids Police Department. We handled 480 calls for service, which compared to 371 calls for service a year ago, May of 2013. That's a 29% increase in calls. Board members have a breakdown of those calls. Issued 19 written warnings, 27 municipal ordinance citations, and 47 traffic citations for the month of May. Grand Rapids Police Department would like to welcome Cody Conover and Daniel Trelka. They're the two newest additions to our part-time police officer ranks. They started their duties and training on May 21st, so right now they're going through their FTO syllabus program, and hopefully in the very near future you'll see them out patrolling the streets of Grand Rapids. So I want to welcome them aboard, and I hope everybody in the town welcomes aboard. They're a couple of young but very mature individuals, and I think they're going to fit in well with the community, and they're going to fit in well with the department, and we anticipate them being a real nice addition to the part-time police officer force. The Grand Rapids Police Department, we participated in the Wisconsin Department of Transportation Click It or Ticket campaign, which was held May 19th through June 1st, pretty much statewide. During the course of that campaign, we issued 28 traffic citations, 6 written warnings, and 1 criminal warrant was executed at that time. 10 of the citations related specifically to safety restraint or seatbelt violations. We spent approximately a little over 111 hours on that campaign. Because of that campaign, that puts us eligible for grant money. We probably won't find that out until later this summer, but hopefully the effort was out there so that it gets some grant money from the state for the results of our efforts here in Grand Rapids. April 30th through May 2nd, I attended was a training seminar. Wisconsin Department of Justice put it on, crisis management and executive training in Stevens Point. That training covered public service partnerships between agencies and between departments like the police department, fire department, other EMS services, how they can work together in emergency situations, crisis situations. Dealt with social media, agency leadership, and also legal updates. The Grand Rapids Auxiliary assisted with the Jigsaw Run, which was held at Southwood County Park on Saturday, May 3rd. They primarily assisted with traffic control, so when the participants were running their about a 5-mile course or 5 or 6K, whatever it was, around Lake Luzicia, that at those intersections where there was traffic, that the participants could cross safely. That charity run benefited autism, so that was a good benefit that the auxiliary participated in. May 7th, I attended a town hall type event. Parents Who Host Lose the Most. This was held at the Wood County Courthouse Auditorium. The Family Center hosted the event, and it included residents, stakeholders from Wisconsin Rapids and surrounding communities, as well as Wood County community leaders. The topics that were discussed at this town hall event were underage drinking, excessive drinking, and parents' responsibilities in helping to prevent underage drinking. And it was especially important this time of the year with graduations and outdoor, spring events coming up, and how parents have to be aware that the nearest beer might be next to the milk in the refrigerator. So I was actually kind of disappointed in the turnout. I was hoping there would be a bigger turnout, that there was people there, but would have liked to see more community support and input at its event. May 14th, I also attended the Wood County Law Enforcement Executive Committee at the Wood County Sheriff's Office. There we talked new recent law changes for Chapter 51, which are the emergency detention and the forms associated with that, related issues, and then also interagency assistant agreements and after-hour search warrants. The 20th, May 20th, I attended a Wood County Crime Stoppers meeting at the Pittsville Fire Department, and I am now on the Crime Stoppers Committee as a law enforcement representative, so very good program. I'm hoping that we can get the south end of the county here more involved with Crime Stoppers. It was real evident that it seems like Marshfield and the north end of the county have very good support for it, but for whatever reason it's lacking down here, and I'm hoping that getting some more representatives, especially law enforcement representatives, this end of the county will help increase the Crime Stoppers program down here at this end. So we'll see how that proceeds. Now that I'll be on that committee. And then finally on the 27th, I represent the Grand Rapids Police Department at Heroin Summit 2, which was held at the McMillan Memorial Library. The focus of this meeting was to discuss community awareness and educational opportunities available to prevent illegal drug use, specifically heroin. I think community awareness in this area is lacking on just the extent of the heroin problem that we do have, not only in Wood County, but the whole state of Wisconsin. In my previous job, I saw what was happening down there, you know, a year and a half, 2 years ago, with an increase of heroin that was trying to be smuggled into the country. And here we are, or, you know, at this point in time and over the last 6 to 8 months in central Wisconsin here, or throughout the state of Wisconsin, they're seeing just a rapid increase in the use of heroin and the effects, the overdoses, the deaths, and things that are occurring. So the community has to be aware that there is a problem out there, and we got to get in front of it, because it's not going to go away anytime soon unless we take the appropriate action. So that was a very good summit. There are plans in the works for another one where we can get the medical profession involved and see how the medical facilities in Wood County can help maybe slow down the rapid use of it. So the vehicles in the department are doing well. The installation of the lights that were on back order for the new squad were received, and they have been installed. 2 new laptops that were ordered were programmed, and our IT people programmed them correctly, so they're all in. We have a laptop in every squad now, which is great, which we didn't have before. And we also have printers, and also all the squads now have laptops and printers, and they're actually, knock on wood, working as they should be. So that's all I have. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Ron Heck, thank you, Chief Peterson. I heard you say that you issued several citations for ordinance violations.
Yes.
And I heard you say that at I think 2 other meetings. I've never heard Chief Lewandowski say anything about citations for ordinance violations. Is this area concentration, or just it wasn't reported before, or just stepping up in that area?
I don't know what Chief Lewandowski's plan of attack was. It shows what we're doing, and that, you know, that we're not just concentrating on traffic citations, and we are enforcing ordinances. That's
I believe a number of them, Chief, were related to people not registering their dogs, failure to register their dogs, getting notices from us, getting phone calls from us and still not taking the step to register their dogs. So they were then cited, correct?
That's correct. The 27 ordinance citations, I would say, is uncommonly high this month, but for what the chairman's reasons is why it was high this month. But typically, we don't see that many, but this month, so.
And the reason I'm asking is, I hear several times, hey, we got these ordinances, but we don't enforce them, so I'm glad we are, I guess. Thank you.
I believe that they were issued before, but Dave,
Okay.
Chief Lewandowski did not have in his report
I
the
was
number of
just-
citations. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
One thing I need to commend the department on, and this obviously had no bearing on Chief Peterson's doings because it happened before him. Recently, you may have saw an article on WAOW-TV that Grand Rapids was listed as the number 3 safest municipality in the state of Wisconsin. That was 2012 statistics. So I have challenged the chief to continue that on. And he assures me that we are going to go up. And it just reiterates that this community is a quiet community that does have issues. As you know, the number of calls are going up. But our efforts with them being out there are hopefully going to keep us a safe community. And I want to commend the department. Anything else? Any other questions for him? If not, you may sit. Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, item 8 is the approval or reject final bids from the items on the Wisconsin surplus auction. As some of you may know, we put out squad cars and some fire equipment that we no longer had the need for. And I'll ask the departments, is there anything on those lists that you don't feel the bids were satisfactory enough for us to remove them from service?
I'm real happy with our bids.
Chief?
I guess, no, we're happy with what we got. I guess, obviously, we would have liked a little bit more on a couple items, but I think they're in our best interest to get rid of them. I just wanted to board the ambulance cot that was on there was actually property of the Wisconsin State Firefighters Memorial. They just asked us to sell it for them. It was some surplus property they wanted to get rid of, and we were hoping to get a lot more for that because of where the money was going to, but the money we got for it, they assured me they were okay with that. They said it's more than they had this morning, so.
Okay, then I'll read the final quotes or final bid numbers for the items. We had a folding water tank that the fire department used that had, in good condition, but it had minor pinholes. That final bid was $216. We had 2 Silverback ventilation fans, 110 volt, and that went for $165 total. That's for the pair, correct? They had 2 10-foot sections of 2.5-inch suction hose, one that included a strainer, that went for $40. We had 2 SCA bottles, there was no bids on them. We had a chainsaw that was in fair condition. Johns Road went for $115 was the final bid. The Firematic Porta-Calf models 101, 150, like new condition, and that's the portable foam device. Is that the best term for it, Chief?
Correct.
That went for $385. The medical transport device that goes in the RRV went to final bid $985. The Monster Medic ambulance cot, $165. Panasonic Tough Book, one went for $100. Second one went for $100. Third one went for $195. And the fourth one went for $190. And then the cream of the crop was the 2009 Dodge Charger. Final bid $7,225.50. Now, I remember very well all of our Ford Crown Vics. If we got $1,800 to $2,300, we were tickled to death. And when we changed from Crown Vic to the Dodge, we were led to believe that the resale value would be substantially better. And I guess this shows you flat out that it was substantially better, plus better fuel economy. So those are your numbers. Anybody wish to motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept the final bids. for the Wisconsin surplus online auction items as listed.
I'll second.
Motion Dan, second Patty, discussions? Kathy, I'm sorry. Look right at you and hearing none, all in favor, signify.
I just have one question.
You had it, go right ahead.
Okay, so on the Chemtech Medlights transport unit for $985, that is stainless steel, diamond plate. You know, do you think a person would be able to get more for it as far as the price of metals and scrapping it? I don't know how much it weighs, just a simple question.
Well, it's aluminum, not stainless.
Oh, it's,
But,
okay,
no, there's nowhere near scrap.
okay.
It'd have been nice to get a little bit more than that for it, but it's,
Sometimes it is what it is.
it is what it is. We got more than for the squad.
Sorry, buddy. All right, any other discussion? If not, all to set to approve the online auction, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? No opposed. Thank you very much, and thank you, State of Wisconsin. And by the way, when we get these bids or these people pay for them, they pay all the fees. We as the township put no fees out to it, so what the final bid is, that's what we get. It's not like a Barrett Jackson auction where you gotta pay them 14%.
It's up there.
All right, Pro Fire Department request to have a new website developed. We've had a website over the years that was initially produced by a gentleman who's no longer a firefighter, no longer interested in updating it, and you have the information in front of you in the form of a email, which indicates that the town website design who hosts our website is offering to do the new site for $500 for the first year. It includes all the setup, the domain names, transferring of the data, first year hosting, and then the second year's cost would be $300 for hosting and $15 a year for removal of the domain name. They would contact, have been in contact with Mr. Mishek about transferring the domain if we chose to allow the fire department to update their website. Discussions?
Would this be something that just falls within our regular budgeted operations? It's
Might have
only
to increase,
500?
you might have to increase the budget for next year.
Yeah.
But this year, would it just
This
come out
year.
of the budget?
Probably find it someplace, yeah.
So this would come out of the fire departments for just the towns?
Well, out of the town's budget, but other, like fire department supplies or somewhere, that's what I'm questioning.
Or we put it into the computer support
that's
type
true.
thing, and I guess it would be one of these things that, like we've done in the past, at the end of the year, if we're getting short on something, then we have to make a budget amendment to take some money from general funds. But we usually have the ups and downs in all of the line items that.
Can I ask Chief a question?
Go ahead.
So have you spoke with this gentleman and you feel satisfied that he can provide the good quality work that you would want or need?
Well, it's the same company that is doing our town's website.
Yes.
It's just, you know, the gentleman that set our website up originally moved to La Crosse. He took care of it for a little while, and then as, you know, I mean, he moved like 4 years ago. And as time, you know, it just slowly, he quit updating it, quit keeping stuff current on it and stuff, and as much as we want to get information out there, we hate having 3-year-old information out there, so he, you know, he's gonna step aside from doing it at all, which he basically has, and we just wanted to figure out a way to get it back up and running without having to start a new one, and this was the easiest method. And then, from what I understand, the girls in the office or whoever can go in and put stuff out on the website fairly simple, so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what other websites are like, but they are very easy to add things or change things and, you know, make corrections and stuff like that. I don't know, I didn't research other companies. I believe that the $300 a year is a very low price for websites, from what I've heard.
Well, you most often get what you get, and for the amount of data that is on our website, as Mr. Head can relate to, is there's a lot of data there available on that website at minimal cost to the township. So we looked at it earlier when we chose to go with the Down Web Design, and they do a lot of communities in Wisconsin. Bill?
So that this person that was doing it before they moved was doing it for nothing?
Yes.
Yeah, he was a former fireman, he did it, he was a computer tech guy, and he knew how to start a web page, so he did, and unfortunately, he moved to La Crosse.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve Town Web Design to create the fire department website for the quoted cost of $500 the first year and $300 hosting the second year, with the fees to be paid from computer expenses.
Okay. Second? Anyone? I'll second it. That was Dan?
Yep.
Okay. Discussions?
Would we have,
Go ahead, Dan.
I'm sorry.
One of my questions, is this a separate website than the town of Grand Rapids? Okay, so why is...
Fire departments always had their own website.
Okay, I did not know that. I thought what was on our website was the firemen.
Most of the time, the fire departments always carry their own websites, and I know that, you know, the guys that I've seen on Facebook that when they've been out training out at Midstate and different places, that they've taken some excellent pictures, and nobody knows how to do anything on this website that the other gentleman created, and so there's no way of putting those out there for people to see, putting out the new, you know, celebration information, or you got people out there that are, you know, go out on websites and look for information on how to join a volunteer fire department.
And see, that's one of my questions. I was thinking that if it was decided to go this route, it would be more, I think I would like to see it actually do a link from the town of Grand Rapids versus having its own identity. You know, it's...
Well, you could put a link on our website that says a link to the Grand Rapids Fire Department website, but it's, all that is a click of a button and it automatically takes you there, that you don't have to.
Would it cost any additional if we would utilize our town of Grand Rapids website to put
We're
the
running out of
pictures?
space. I mean, literally, if you look at the town website, there's no more room. We've added down this side, so now our notices are down to about only 3 notices that show up on there. And across the top, we don't have any more room, and committees and that, I'm down pretty much to the bottom of what I can add anymore. So I don't know where you would get the fire department stuff on there where it would be prominent.
And typically, the fire department can be used for them to announce that they have potential openings or looking for recruits in their EMS or their fire services or their other types of needs that they have. They can, you know, the fire community is, as in any law enforcement or protection services, a very brotherly type of event that they do recognize a lot of stuff such as, you know, service dates and stuff like that. So they like to do it on their own pages, their service awards, nominations and stuff like that.
And recently, Johnsonville Brats had a promotional event where they were accepting nominations for the best of local volunteer fire departments. And while I nominated you guys, and I still think you're the best, we didn't get selected as one of the top 20, but one of the pieces of my application asked for their own website. And if you were to go out there and see the top 20 who are picked, there are websites tied to a lot of those. So it's pretty common practice to see that, at least that I've identified, to see the volunteer fire departments within the nation having their own websites.
Thank you.
Which one first? Who,
They don't.
It's,
yes,
does the police department have their own?
Ours is associated with
Associated with theirs.
Bill?
Yeah. You know, since this has been being derailed for obviously months and hasn't been serviced, I'd like to see us continue and put it on our website, see how it goes at budget time. You know, maybe,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, so, any further discussion? There no further discussion? The motion,
I guess I got.
you did, yeah, go ahead.
Can we do this for 1 year, for this year, and not do the renewal? And then just review it at budget time, and see what we want to do, maybe we want to redo the whole.
Well, yeah, it comes with 1 year hosting.
I can
Yeah,
amend
we
my
can-
budget, my motion to be just the 1 year, because my motion was a 1 year with a second year, and all I wanted was the cost in the motion. So I can amend
Why
my,
would you want to spend the extra time and money if you're going to cancel it in a year?
true.
There's work that goes into it. If you don't want a fire department website, then don't do it. But don't do it and tell us to put the work into it, and then turn around in November and say, no, we're not gonna spend $300 on it. It's not worth it.
I really don't think that's what Dan was going with. I see that if, what would be a good thing is that you're talking about our town of Grand Rapids website is getting no more room for expansion. So maybe if we do table this until budget time and review it, and maybe let's take a look at the whole webpage where we can maybe have some additional space for the police department, have a nice link or something from the town of Grand Rapids for the fire department, and have us all together as one big group. You know, I think that might be a good way of going, you know, like, that's where I see Dan's questioning was about not have one.
Right, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't to not have one. I mean, I'd like to continue it, even have this guy carry it through but then look at budget time, like I said, maybe including the police department more and into the fire one, or you know what I mean? Trying to look at more of an apprehensive plan in general.
Chief, you wanted to comment?
Yeah, I guess, the guy that started it isn't willing to do anything with it. He hasn't done anything with it in almost 2 years. And that's the whole point. It's sitting out there. We can't do anything on it ourselves because it's locked up. He's got the domain name in his name and everything else. So that website is sitting out there. We can't gain access to it. We can't do anything to it. He will let us have access to it if we have somebody to take it over. He'll let us take that, transfer it to a new website and go with that. But I mean, as far as to say he's gonna continue to do anything with it?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
No, that ain't what I meant.
Okay,
Was he
well,
gonna do it?
but he's not interested in doing that. And, it can sit out there. It's just, right now, there's nothing been changed on it in 2 years. And the last update was 2 years ago, and, if we want it to continue sitting out there and not getting information out and updates up to people, it can sit there. But
We can discuss it at budget time and do something for next year then.
it got brought to light when Kathy wrote the grant application that she wanted to link it to it. And how does it look when you have a website that hasn't been touched in 2 years? It doesn't really look that favorable, so that's where it came to light. Let's see what it's gonna take to get it accomplished is where it came from, We want to get information out to public, and this is the way of doing it.
All right, any other discussion from the board? Hearing none, the motion is to proceed for 1 year, or at least the approval of the $500, which would encompass the 1 year hosting and the setup and the hosting for 1 year.
So, just for clarification, this is just 1 year and Not the
But
additional.
the $500 covers this 1 year.
Okay.
So, and then budget would have to budget it to go
And
any
at that
further.
time, we would do the budgeting for.
It would at least get the domain into our name, under our control, and, not that the guy over in La Crosse is holding us hostage, but it's just he's not here. He doesn't live here and has no ties to the community, so.
In that budget, we can review it again and look at
If
it.
there's a better way of
There's a better
combining
way
the
to
two,
do it.
that's fine.
Let's do it.
All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed?
Opposed.
One opposed. Thank you. Moving to item 9, approval of fire department conducting a structural burn of house 2830 Eagle Road, property owned by Eagle Long Home. The reason it's on the agenda this way is that Don would like to ask if we are in favor of them seeking the proper authorities to conduct a training at a burn before he would spend copious amount of my time getting through the DNR process or any other stuff before. So if the board is okay to do a burn, then he would start. If the board is not, then obviously they'll just do training in it. So, comments? Or questions of him?
I'll make a motion to approve the burn. Of the house at 2830 Eagle Road.
All right, there's a motion by Bill, seconded by Dan, was it, to approve the fire department seeking to get permits to conduct a structural burn at 2830 Eagle Road, if that's what the property owner wishes to happen. That would be correct, Donna.
Done
Golden Eagle Homes is the owner. But
it. Is there any fees?
The DNR permit is about $100 for the review and stuff, so, whether we would have to pay that, or I can, talk with the, property owners if they're willing to cover that fee. There's a lot of expense for the owner with the asbestos checking, abatement, and that stuff, but the net savings is on the amount of, otherwise everything at the house is going into the landfill, so, there's typically a pretty good savings for that, and I guess the training opportunities are very well worth it.
I was just gonna say, for $100, if it ends up costing us $100, the training that we get out of that as well, worth those funds.
there'd be multiple departments involved in it.
Yes.
For quite a while before you'd even burn it.
Yeah, I guess we would be hoping for, I would like to be able to put it off till November-ish. Obviously, for tax reasons, they're gonna want it gone by the first of the year, so, I would like to wait till we had a little bit of snow on the ground, but if we have to do it prior, we have decent setbacks and stuff on this house, which typically, sometimes you don't.
All right, any further discussion? Patty, one more?
Yeah, when I went on Google Maps with that, I noticed that there were a lot of large trees around that building. How do you handle that situation?
Well, hopefully they'll be gone before.
Okay. No, I mean,
Yeah, no, typically, some of them in the front for sure would be
Yeah.
gone. We would get those cut out of there beforehand, so we don't have issues with flare-up and stuff like that, so.
okay. And then as far as liability insurance, how does that work with us?
Anytime we're doing any training, our work comp is involved anyway.
Okay.
I mean, any training, whether we were training in a structure at Mid-State Technical College has their burn structure, or any other building, including the firemen, when they're in training, they're under our work comp laws.
Thank you.
Anything else? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? All right, you can go ahead and start her out. Get those marshmallows ready.
Oh, they are.
You got the big ones or just the little
Oh,
ones?
big ones.
Okay.
There's a lot of good stuff left in the house if anybody wants it.
Oh, boy.
All right, we're moving to item 11, if I'm correct, 2014 and 15 liquor licenses, which presented to us. Do you want to read those?
No.
No? Well, I can. Bullseye Country Club, Tri-City Golf Course, Grand Rapids Lions Club, Jammers Bar and Grill, Grieve HBP, which is the new owners of Kellner International Bar and Grill, Lake Corporation, which were the previous owners of Lance's Never Inn, now Sapphire Incorporated, which are new owners of Conley's and Kellner, Mickey's Saloon, well, he was Mickey's many, many years ago, which is now in the city. He carries a license yet. Eric Getzloff, the Poorhouse, Joe Smith Investments, which is Speakeasy 54 being renamed, not positive on the names right now. He had told me Spirits and now he's thinking something different. Regis of Wisconsin Rapids, Regis Golf Course, we cover the golf course, the building itself is in the city. Great Expectations, the eatery, Bulldogs LLC, which is Bulldogs on 54, Bud's Corner Mart, Cheryl's Sales Corporation, the store in Kellner, and Ruby Reds, which is Ruby Reds on, and that should be a different address on there.
4081 A Street South.
Chief Peterson, he has done the background checks on all the members of the corporations, the owners, the agents, and everybody has passed all the background checks. We have one open license at this point in time. We also have two of these, the Lake Corporation and Mickey's Saloon. They do not have any buildings. They just paid for their liquor license. So they don't actually get a liquor license in the mail like the rest of them do until they would present a building to the boards for the board's approval. They just hold their license, I guess, in case they decide to open a bar. They've done this for years. They pay their fee and have their name on paper.
Okay, and the one question we always asked, did we receive any notices of any of the liquor sales companies that any of these folks are in arrears that would prevent us from issuing them licenses?
No, we do have one of these are not current on their taxes. We approve them. I mean, in the past, the board has always approved them. They receive a letter from me saying your taxes are not paid, and until you present me with a copy showing that your taxes are up to date, you do not receive your liquor license. So the license is approved. There's no reason to not approve the license as far as background checks and that type of a thing. But I do not issue a license. I will have Chris go through all of these again prior to issuing the actual license to them and make sure that we don't have any invoices out there for something or another that they're, haven't paid, or that their taxes, personal property taxes, any of that is not current.
Okay. Any other questions?
How about the building inspections? Is there any
Don't have any
significant violations out there?
No, there was just a couple things out at Speakeasy 54, that a couple exit lights, but minor issues
Okay.
and stuff, nothing outstanding.
Anything else? If not, somebody want a motion to approve or denial?
I'll make a motion that we approve liquor license renewal 2014.
Motion Dan,
I'll second that.
second Patty. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. No reaction. Okay, item 12 is the application or renewal for Spirits, formerly Speakeasy 54. He's wishing to retain the cabaret license, I guess that the sectional oriented business license for cabaret. Information is in front of you. The chief has done the backgrounds, correct? And is there comments from the board?
I have a couple questions. So, the ordinance that we have, ordinance number 64, is quite lengthy to go through. You guys spent a lot of time on that.
And how many
for
months,
sure.
Bill?
Right.
Yes.
So, when I was reviewing the ordinance, one of the things that, when I was trying to understand this a little bit more,
I wish you would have called their grandfather.
Okay.
They do not have to
Okay,
follow that
and-
ordinance at all.
okay, that's fine. However, this is a renewal?
Yes.
Okay, and I noticed that on this particular form that we utilize, there isn't any dates that, signing of a date. So that was one of my questions, not knowing that they were
For the year
grandfathered.
commencing July 1st, 2014 and ending June 30th, 2015.
Right, one of the, on the application itself, if it's submitted, the 60 days prior to the June 30th.
They don't have, yeah, they don't have to follow.
Right, I know that
Actually,
they don't have
do
to.
this.
Okay.
To be honest with you. The guys have been fabulous on trying to work with the town, stay within the ordinance as much as possible, and technically, they wouldn't have to do this.
Okay.
They're willing to do it, to stay within the ordinance as much as possible. So, this application is not as in-depth as the application that would be given should somebody come into the town, be able to meet all the criteria in the ordinance, and wish to apply for a license.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Thanks for
All right, motion to approve, or deny?
I'll make a motion.
Motion Dan, second
I'll second.
Kathy.
I have a
Is
discussion.
that right? Yes, Bill, I'm going to give you your opportunity.
And one of the things was this was not very popular. We did work very, very hard on this. And the fact is that we were told by our attorney not to vote against this. Correct? In the initial.
Pretty much, yes.
Yes, and it was a unanimous vote to put it in. And there was, one person even refused to serve on the plan commission because he did not agree with this and he didn't have a right to express himself. I always, this is the first time they've ever put in for a license since they got the initial, correct?
No, they've done it every year.
You mean last year we did the same thing?
Yes, you did.
Ooh. Okay.
Exact same form. The manager has changed. They have a different manager than what they had the last couple of years. The gentlemen have told me, well, I don't know if I should
No, I
start saying anything, but.
You answered my question.
But the long and short of it, Bill, is they were grandfathered into our ordinance. Our ordinance went into effect after they already had their business up and running, so.
The person holding this license is the same person who held it last year.
Correct.
It's different than the liquor license that we did.
Correct.
Okay.
All right, so the motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Any opposed?
Oh,
One opposed. All right, item 13. If I can find that in my packet here.
that's a new one. Okay.
There we go. Sergeant Drinkwine attend, this is approval to allow Sergeant Drinkwine to attend the 2014 Attorney General Summit on Public Safety in Wisconsin Dells. How convenient. June 19th, 17th to the 19th. Is that a water park by chance? Oh yes, it is at the Kalahari. All right, expected cost $334.32. This is in your budget, sir, correct? Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion.
Motion Patty, second by
I'll second.
Kathy. Can't say Patty twice, can I? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Have an aye, any opposed? None opposed. 14, approve Officer Kubitschek attending property room management training seminar in Madison, July 29th through the 30th. Approximate cost, maximum of $451. And Again, that's in the budget.
I'll make a motion that we approve the training for Tammy Kulisek.
Motion Dan, second Kathy. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And aye, any opposed? Page 2, as Paul Harvey says. Approve Chief Peterson adding one more part-time officer due to 2 more officers being taken off the current list. You're removing some officers that have been on the list that are actually not functioning. Is that the long and short of it?
That's correct. They haven't filled any shifts for quite some time, and they're at a point where we'd have to put them through our training program again just to get them to fill a shift. So with the recent round of interviews, we have 2 very strong candidates, and I'd like to bring both of them on. Again, they would be good additions to our part-time staff that would be able to fill those hard-to-fill shifts Monday through Friday on the day shift. And like I said, it would go a long ways in helping us fill those.
Okay, so you want to add one more additional to those 2, and so that your active list of part-time available officers would be approximately 5 or 6?
Well, we would, the actual part-time officers, we'd have a list of 9. When I came on board, our list was at 8 with 3 or 4 that weren't filling shifts, okay? Now we would be at 9 with these 2 new additional ones. That would put us, the total list at 9, and all pretty much available to fill shifts.
And the reason for part-timers is that when a full-timer officer gets either vacation time or comp time or sick time, if we run a regular officer, we're paying time and a half. If we bring a part-timer, we're paying at about 3/4 of the wage. So it's beneficial to the town, and the union has accepted the part-time, us using part-timers to fill those positions. So it's a cost savings to the town rather than a cost.
So, Mr. Chairman, are we adding one more part-time officer?
One more plus
because
the
of
2.
2, or one more plus the 2 that you are adding? It's not clear.
You guys approved him to add 3,
3.
Okay,
and so he's
Gotcha.
asking for 4.
got it.
Total, yeah. 2 we've already got on board.
Yep.
A recent round of interviews, we had 2 real strong candidates, and I'd like to bring both of them on.
Gotcha.
So,
So you want to just increase your part-time personnel from 8 to 9? Total.
total.
Right now it's 8 and you have
Right.
1 vacancy. If you up it to 9, then you'll have 2 vacancies with 2 potential very strong candidates to fill.
Yes.
Perfect.
All right, Berkler.
Here's mine.
Any questions?
I do. I cannot remember, Judy, our recording of employees, the one.
We're fine on
Okay.
hours.
That was.
For
just one of my
Obamacare,
questions.
we're fine.
Okay,
Yeah. We're under the 50
Yeah.
okay.
substantial counts. All right, any other questions? Did we get a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve, add one more part-time officer, so there's a total of 9.
I'll second it.
Second motion by Dan, seconded by Bill, to add one more part-time to the list to give us a running list of approximately 9. All in favor? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? No opposed. All right. Discussion to allow a portion of Town Light Road, 64th Street to Port Edwards border to become an ATV trail. This came through our legislative for several meetings. We had a pretty good discussion on it. I personally am not in favor of Town Light Road becoming an ATV trail. When Town Light Road was built, it was built as with a biking, walking path attached to it, 3-foot path is what it is. It's not a full-fledged trail, certainly not wide enough for an ATV to be operating within that 3 foot, so they would be on the road. We accepted money from the state of Wisconsin and for this trail as it was designed to be a biking, walking trail. So I'm not in favor of other people's comments. Board members?
This is a request for a...
Right, we had a request for it to do it. We kicked it out a couple times. We went back to our attorney. Our attorney, as last response at our legislative meeting, said you can do what you want. Yes, you do have liabilities if you do allow it. Legislative, I can't remember if it was a poll review or if it was a motion. I can't remember.
No motion.
No motion, but the consensus and discussion led me to believe that the board members were inclined not to, so. Patty?
I just want to say that I think we spent a lot of the taxpayers' money on Town Line, and I think that it would be a very expensive ATV trail, so I am not for the ATV utilizing Town Line Road for ATVs. However, I really think that we should look into other alternatives or a different way of connecting the route, because I think having ATVs or all-terrain vehicles coming through the town or, utilizing the trails would help the economy of the town of Grand Rapids.
You can refer that to legislative if you like. Because that's where it'd have to come from, because right now our ordinance does not allow it.
Correct.
If we were making a decision tonight to do it, then our ordinance would have to be updated to say it is allowed in these particular roads. All right, so, any other discussion? If not, I'll make the motion to deny the request for the ATV trail on Town Line Road.
I'll
Is there a
second
second?
that.
Kathy, were you first? And Kathy. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? Okay. We do need to update, we have a resolution in front of us, 2014-30, to amend ordinance 59 regulating ATV, UTV trails to be brought up to current standards. Some language that our attorney requested that we put into the thing, the ordinance, the basic change of the ordinance is that one sentence, that the ordinance was updated to reflect current Wisconsin statutes with no changes or regulations or content. Or changes to regulation or content, that's the change to that ordinance. And that's what we discussed with our attorney Woods.
Mr. Chairman, I wasn't at the legislative meeting, so updating this is only simply a correction or clarification of which statute's being referenced. It does not allow any ATV or UTV access on our town roads at this point.
Correct.
Okay.
So is there a motion to for or against resolution 2014-13?
I will move to approve resolution 2014-13.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion Bill, second Patty, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Approval of resolution 2014-14, amending ordinance 30 regulating junk vehicles to add the word days in section 30. And it's after the letter written word 30 and in colon parentheses 30. We did not have the word days in it. So that's all we're changing in this ordinance.
I'll make a motion to
Correction
approve.
by our police officer. Motion by Bill for 2014-14 to be approved. Seconded by Dan. Any further discussions? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Again, I'm an aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Another resolution, approved resolution 2014-15, amending ordinance 51, regulating the Division of Land to update section 51.4 to reflect current Wisconsin stats. That's the only changes.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 51 changes regulating the division of land as presented.
Motion Patty, seconded by Arnie. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? No opposed. Resolution 2014-70, amending the 2014 budget to account for approved purchase and loan of public works grader. Some mathematical stuff we had to put into the form of a resolution to approve.
This is just a housekeeping thing that
Am I
we're
on the
done
wrong
with
one?
this?
Oh.
No,
No,
we're on
we
the
skipped-
Yeah, we just skipped from
We skipped
15 to
16.
17, so I said we're 16, but
Actually, it is on number 5.
I'll make a motion to approve 2014-17 resolution to amend the 2014 budget.
I'll second it.
Motion Kathy, seconded Dan. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? So did I skip one or? am I-
No,
we're good.
The resolution numbers went from 15 to 17.
Okay,
but 16
That's what you were
is on-
questioning.
Yeah, 16's on
you know, I mean,
five.
I have with my blue pen here, I like to check things off here. We might get done by 10:30, huh? All right, we're on 21.
Yep.
Okay, approval of allowing Rick Austin and Mike Smith to mow and hay the old landfill area. They've in the past have provided us with a letter to indicate that they would mow it and mow it carefully because we have a lot of vents in there that they need to be sure that they get around, so we've allowed them to use their equipment, take the hay. They provide us with an insurance waiver, and they've done that over the last few years.
I'll make a motion to approve Rick Austin, Mike Smith to mow the hay on the old landfill area.
I'll second it.
Motion Patty, second Dan. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? 22, confirmation appointment by Town Chairman Arnie Nystrom for Board of Appeals to move Mark Thompson to alternate 1 to regular member to fill the vacancy that was created when Tom Myers moved to the Plan Commission. Designate Ron Hett as alternate 1, and Chairman announced his recommendation to fill alternate 2 position, and my appointment would be Mike Edwards. Discussion or motion?
So Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve your recommendation of Mike Edwards as alternate 2.
And confirmation of the changes of the moves.
Mhm.
And I will second that.
Motion Kathy, second Dan. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm aye, any opposed? Motion carries. Item 23 is discuss town per diem policy to clarify when more than 1 per diem can be earned. Somebody asked for this?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Any question?
I put in for 2 meetings. We had the board of review, and then at 8 o'clock, we had a meeting, a town board meeting. There was 2 meetings, we're authorized 2 per diems in a day.
Okay. Let me explain what's been past practice since town bus is day of the chairman. The 2 per diem limit was presented and approved by the board to compensate those that attended, for example, the airport commission meeting. And then we followed it up later in the evening with either a regular town meeting or at some point in time, it was board review at that point in time. So those what were considered 2 per diem issues because they took place at separate locations. For many years, and we've scheduled some of our individual committee meetings, and a person that was on one of those committees may have scheduled another meeting following right behind that. And we did that to save the town per diems. And for sure, three meetings this year, where I believe Patty and I had a building and then we moved to the town garage for Dan and myself to have a meeting. I chose one per diem. That's what I expected the rule was. Kathy had a public works meeting at the fire station, came over here, and then had a meeting with Dan and myself. That was considered one meeting for myself. So that's how I've operated on the town chairman's position as to what when two per diems were earnable was when you worked separate meetings, separate locations, separate times. If you follow the philosophy that what I think you're following, Bill, two meetings, we in theory every budget meeting, don't we have two meetings? We have a public hearing on the budget, we close that, and then follow it up with a special town meeting. So that would be two meetings if you follow that same theory.
And I totally disagree with that. I'm just going by what it says. More than one per diem may be claimed in one day if the official attends different meetings that are separate issues at different times of the day with a maximum of 2 per diems claimed. I've been coming to these town board meetings for 20 years in the town of Grand Rapids. And I know this has been done. This was a board of review. We cannot conduct any more business at a board of review other than the board of review.
Right, we did.
You scheduled a meeting at 8 o'clock, a town board meeting. That's 2 separate meetings at 2 different times of the day. Now, I can see if you go to a conference and you go to 5 different meetings at that conference, wherever it is, and you can't even collect 2 per diems for that. And those meetings are scheduled different times of the day. But I may go to a meeting here for this, for solid waste, and the other one for recycling. And I understand that's not. And I've been to committee meetings where we had 3 committee meetings, and I only put in for 1 per diem because I know what that is.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I may, for point of clarification. So, I know that we've had quite a few meetings recently. We've had this conversation about trying to save taxpayer money, about being responsible and such. And I know that I have seen all of us try to do some back-to-back committee meetings so that we only claim 1 per diem, so that we can save on the cost. Are you saying that then you have put in 2 per diems for those, or you've only put in 1 per diem for those?
I've only put in 1 per diem for those.
So then how would this be any different? That one is clearly 2 different committees meeting back-to-back, and you're putting in 1. This one, this example you're bringing up is the town board called together for board review, and immediately upon adjournment of the board review, the town board reconvened as a town board to address town board issues. I don't see that as any different. In fact, it's the same governing body called back-to-back.
And it don't say back-to-back on that. It don't say committee meetings. It don't say anything.
I know, sometimes it's just common sense.
That if meetings are separate issues at different times of the day with a maximum of 2 per diems claimed per day, in one day.
I think we ought to take this to some way to change the language if that's what we feel we need. I view this is a policy and procedure that's in our handbook that we all operate under, and if the clarity is not there, I will apologize for being part of this because I was part of the writing of this, and certainly the intent I have and the intent that I followed all these years, especially when I was on the airport commission, was the only time if we had a meeting then and we came to a 6:30 or meeting here, then that's 2 per diem. That's the theory. But if I was doing 2 committee meetings within the town, that was 1 committee.
you're
See,
talking
the
about.
way that Kathy had mentioned that, or you were explaining Kathy's meeting, she was at the fire department.
Yeah.
And then she walked over here. To me, that's a different location.
But I still would only,
No, I
if it's
understand,
back-to-back
but-
meetings, I would only put one per diem.
But the
But if,
wording is a little bit, maybe we can take some time and just revise this per diem, just for clarification of it.
I mean, if,
Because
that makes sense.
there's been many times, and Jody can vouch for it too, I call her up and say, can I, can't I, am I supposed to? Because it's new to me, and when I read this, every time I refer back to it, to me, it's like, not very clear for me myself, so.
is, you know, this is a discussion, but anything that's on the agenda
Yes,
can be
take
changed. So
action on it.
if somebody wishes for us to change the policy and have some language that you want to do it, we can put it in. I mean.
You mean have this as an agenda item?
So,
You can do it
it's
right
action. If you want to say two meetings period, and that's approved, so be it.
I think the current policy we're using right now and that I used with committee meetings like you're talking about is perfect. I've never put in for 2 meetings when we've had those committee meetings where you just had one where, and I believe it's in the folder, in the packet, where the Public Works met and the public buildings.
Right.
Okay, we went here and we went there. I'm not on either one of those committees, so obviously I didn't. But you people were, and none of you put in for 2 meetings. And you were the only one that, if you think I'm
Right.
following that language,
No,
I would think you could. No, I didn't think you could.
no, I didn't.
And I didn't.
I haven't been it for 20 years.
Right, and the board met twice in one day. It's so clear. What language would you change to make anybody think different?
Well, that's true. What language would you change? I would agree with you there, Bill. I'm confused here. I don't understand the argument that you're presenting. You're stating that you understand that back-to-back committee meetings, which are 2 entirely different committee meetings, but you understand that they should not be 2 per diems. But back-to-back town board meetings should be 2. I don't understand.
When do you ever get 2 meetings? Like he said, for airport and a town board meeting?
It's not likely, but
We
you
had that
could.
when
We've had
Board of
town,
Review followed on, was on a Thursday.
yeah. And if airport would have fallen at 4 o'clock and board of review came later that night,
That's where the whole idea, because per diem is 1, means 1. And Mr. Buss brought that to our attention, that it was a little unfair.
I was here when Mr. Buss brought that attention. Mr. Buss brought that attention to the fact when you go to a conference, you don't get paid for all those meetings you attend. You don't even get paid 2. That was the conversation. I was here and I know it. And I'm chairman of the Judicial Legislative Committee and we do on the county board, and we do the county board rules and regulations. And I took this to the attorney there. I asked him about this, showed him the agendas. He said you get 2 per diems. And I would say the same thing.
So maybe we need to,
But
Go ahead,
different,
go ahead, Pam.
it says different times.
One was
You
at 6
can't
and one was at 8.
you
It's
can't
not-
be at 2 meetings at the same time.
right,
You
it's not, that's
cannot
not the
be,
intent.
you
either.
have 2 meetings at 7 o'clock, you can't be at both of them. So different times means 9 o'clock in the morning and 5 o'clock at night. That's 2 different times.
That's what the intent was. We've had, even when I was clerk, we would have economic development meetings at the city hall with other municipal leaders in the morning, and then that night have a meeting here in the town. That's what the intent was by the 2 different times. Obviously, you would never ever have 2 meetings at 2 different times where you're gonna put in both per diems. You can't be in 2 places at once.
Right.
I think back-to-back meetings is the intent of what we did to be fiscally responsible with claiming per diems.
On the county board, we're only allowed 2 meetings, 2 per diems a
I'm
day.
sorry, Bill, this is town board, this is not county board.
Right.
I don't care what the county board does.
Well, I do care what the county board does, because it says the same language in ours, and it says you can have to only collect 2 per diems. And they were 2 different meetings.
Go ahead, Pam.
Take a vote. If you want them paid, take a vote.
Motion to Pam.
Well, I think we should reword this so it is
I
clear.
totally believe it's incorrect, but I will.
I find
Take
it
the
funny
gentleman
that
for
we're
his time.
arguing over a per diem when we sit at budget time, and there's been worse accusations thrown out of wasteful spending, and we're sitting here arguing about paying a town board member who was asked to be at back-to-back meetings to get paid twice. If you want to get paid, I will second your motion so that you can get paid, Bill.
I didn't.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further
I
discussion?
did not make the
You want
motion.
to, you didn't.
Patty,
I made the motion.
Patty would be included in that
Yeah,
also.
because I
She
did the same
claimed
thing.
But that's up to you if you want to be paid.
I just, like I said, I
But I
thought
think-
that this was a little bit unclear for me, and Judy can attest to it. I asked her, am I supposed to, am I not? I just want to follow the rules,
Right.
you know, so. I myself am not going to take 2 per diems, but the way that this is stated,
Just to clarify for future purposes.
right.
Yep.
If
Motion
there
been
is,
made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. I am an aye.
Aye. The motion is to pay Bill per diem.
Those against?
Aye.
Aye, no.
okay,
All right, motion is denied. So now you move up to,
We'll have to work on that policy then.
Is that legislative, or is that something we just do?
that's gonna have to come on the agenda item when some of us can get some heads together.
this is supposed to be for what? Committee?
I don't know where it would, where it would run.
Personnel or?
Did personnel, I think
we
personnel
were-
worked on policies, didn't they?
I think we've done them.
Can we work with it all together? I mean, not just,
It could be a legislative, no,
Yeah,
it can't. That's
Okay,
not an or-
that's
That'd be an
not
ordinance.
ordinance. I
can we
mean,
have it as an agenda item so we all can work together on the wording? I'd like to see it that way rather than,
We got to establish the next agenda coming up.
okay, all right.
Sure.
and let's see, we are on 24 then? Okay.
Yep.
Approval to pay a 4-year credential renewals for the building inspector at a cost of $240. Now, there's nothing in his, of any language that we had that we've agreed to pay for his credential renewals. Prior to him coming here, you already had those, so now these are the first time that those renewals are coming up, and he's asking the town board to pay for his renewals. So, you got anything else to add, or is that pretty much it?
No, I went through our policy book and there's nothing in our handbook that says that we pay for credentials. We do have it listed in our handbook that we pay for CDL license renewals. They don't have a union contract. No. We don't have it in the handbook
No.
on CDLs. It used to be in their union contract, which is no longer valid, but I went back and looked. And the only thing in there was that we would pay for CDL renewals, even though the last contract did include the building inspector at that time. He doesn't have a contract or anything that, you know, says that we pay for him. He does use these credentials for a lot of other municipalities that he represents and is the building inspector at.
And he works half-time for us, is what it amounts to.
He does have another part-time job in this.
He's got various. Several
Townships.
municipalities that he's building inspector for.
I mean, he has his own business on the side out of his. So he's got that 2.5 days a week, so we utilize him for 20
20 hours.
hours out of a 40-hour work week.
Okay, 20 hours, and then how much was this?
240.
And he was also given $7.50 an hour increase a few years back from when he started
Because of his credentials.
because of
What
having the
credentials he brought.
credentials, yes.
Did we use him with commercial, or do we still go to the state for that? Use him?
depending on the size of it, I think. Pretty much, chief?
Yeah.
Yeah, depending on the size of it.
Some of the stuff is handled by the state, a lot of it's by Larry.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to deny the request.
Motion Bill, seconded.
I'll second it.
Motion Bill, seconded. Dan to deny the request for payment. Any further discussion? I was gonna suggest if we did pay that we'd only pay half of it, but I do believe that he, like anybody, if you are providing the service, you need to have your credentials. So, any other discussion? Hearing none, a motion to deny the request, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Have an aye, any opposed? No opposed. Motion to deny. May disbursement vouchers, anybody take a look at them?
Yes.
I should say everybody looked at them, but. There's one, just I wanted to indicate there's just there's a reimbursement to,
That when you ask.
yeah, on the page 9, there's a reimbursement to Samantha Lupazuski. It says trip over payment. Really what that was,
It is called TRIP, it's a tax intercept.
tax intercept, but it looks a little funny when you look at it. What is it? But it's a tax intercept that we received, and it had already been paid by her and crossed in, so we had to refund her $177.
Kind of like home rent to flush.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So, any questions on it?
I do
One.
have one.
Go
In
ahead.
regards to the US cellular bills,
Mhm.
is there anything that we can do to, it seems like all of them except for one is, pretty much in the game, the same rate. There's one that is higher for $106, so I'm wondering, is there something that we can do better to, or we're missing something as far as?
The higher rates, the two higher rates are basically on phones that have internet service, or their smartphones.
The smartphone, yes, that's why it.
And the
more
PD, and
expensive.
Mela is also a smartphone, and those purposes are for able to, in the case of the fire chief, he's able to look on his smartphone and see who's reporting that they're coming to the
I
fire.
was just wondering
So
if we
he-
were missing
no.
a part of a contract
No,
that
that's
was-
just the other services. My phone is a dumb phone,
Mhm.
and just phone and text messages. Okay, anything else? And we did check these rates against Verizon, and we're still farther lower than that. Just for giggles and grins. All right, we have 26 with a whole bunch of license renewals, right? And because there are a couple new ones, that renewals. Somebody want a motion to, which ones are the new ones?
Yeah, this other motion, the starred ones?
Yep.
We should read those, Dan, and the rest of the renewals you wouldn't have to read.
Are you going to?
You go ahead, I'll butcher the names.
Okay. Make a motion to approve the operator license applications as issued here with, I will read the new ones, the new one-year license. And Amber R. Manthe from Bullseye Country Club. Lori S. Mott, The Store. Emily D. Ninneman from Bud's Corner. Rebecca S. Pickard, The Store.
Missed Kira on the front page.
There's one a little higher, Car Watsky.
Kira R. Uwinski. O'Brien. Gabriella D. Road, Bud's Corner Mart. Megan A. Schroeder, The Ridges. Emily N. Sitz, Bud's Corner Mart. Robert A. Spawn, Kellner International. Bethany M. Vinson, The Ridges Golf Course.
Second the motion?
I'll second.
Kathy, second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye, any opposed? No opposed. Okay, monthly reports from committees, Public Works. We are out, our road work will start 16th to the 17th, which is just next week. Road crew has been working on 2 of the roads to prep them. We were in subdivision way off of Deer Road. Breezy Pine, thank you. Yeah. Breezy Pine subdivision, we went in and dug out the stumps that were in the one spot, so we're gonna have a fresh road that was done today. The edging was done on, ditching was done on 58th Street. The drain that they wanted over by 64th Street, somewhere between Helke and Wazecha, that was put in. So the crew is ready. They have saw cutted, or will be saw cutting the culvert blacktops. We'll be removing those when the county tells us they will be ready for it. County is supposed to start putting in their culverts on U and grinding their road, and then they will grind a road in Port Edwards and then come and do our roads that they need to grind. Crew has already got the contractor that's bringing in our crushed rock on schedule to start delivering it Monday, so that's in place. Sign's been up, mowing's been done. I guess that's about it. Any questions on maintenance?
How grader rental, everything,
Yeah.
grader come back okay?
All in one piece, and we got 15 hours worth of it. Yeah, whatever.
$50
Yeah.
an hour.
Mhm.
Nice.
And they thanked us again. All right, if nothing else, airport commission bill?
Well, we met Thursday night at the airport, of course, and just to let you know, the flights were way up in May of this year. There were 141 flights compared to this time last year, it was 115. He didn't indicate what was going on, but there's a lot of planes in the area around and a lot of fuel sales, so it's helping out. We did the timber sales. We're going to have the slash done at $1,900 an acre. We're going to do about 6 acres of it. The person that the town is using was basically the most expensive. We didn't choose that. I can't recall the name.
Lambert.
Lambert, yes. We're doing it now with Savilski's. That's that person that does.
Green machines or whatever they call them?
Yeah, yeah. And our systems there, the SDF and the NDB systems, we're looking for a unit now because it's crystals, and so we're gonna have to go to a different one because the only people that have crystals available now are in China, and that's because they took all these systems and used them, so we don't know if they work or not, so we're looking at a whole new system for that.
That's a flight navigation? Is that what it is?
Yeah, there's 2 different ones, the SDF and the NDB. The NDD is the most obsolete one, but our pilots use it, and we're gonna go in with Marshfield and see if we can get a system on it. The storage for our diesel fuel, we're looking at trying to purchase the tank that we currently use from this company, and I think it's gonna be a goal. Our update, 6-year update has been accomplished. We've approved that plan. And our compliance review, and then that's with the shooting range. Now the shooting range eventually will not be at the airport. They're going to be using some other thing. So the FAA is very comfortable with what we're doing there. So the other thing is the encroachment on buildings on airport property, and we're sending notice that they have to be removed within 15 days or other action will take place on it. And that's about it.
What was the discussion, was there any discussion on the equipment that we're using, attachments that you're using on that piece of equipment that we got with state and federal funds to store that inside somewhere where it doesn't get to rust?
You're right, we're still working on that. We are looking at, there's no room available, so we're looking for, we have to come to the town of Grand Rapids to get a permit even to do it, so that's what we're looking at.
Are they gonna need to build a second structure built? 'Cause
I think so.
That might be the only answer is
Yeah.
to build a small hangar to store that stuff. The other question I got, Bill, you know, I brought to you the idea of having a contractor's type of fuel tank where the operator could go to the diesel fuel supply station and put in his tank and then it would stay mobile and his pickup. Did that idea ever get anywhere?
Yes, it was addressed, and a tank on a pickup truck was not acceptable. And Patty, you had some comments on that about transparent fuel.
Yeah.
What was that, the
Right, it's not airport approved by having the tanks on the pickup trucks. It's not certified to be utilized on airports. Also, the amount of storage of diesel fuel, what happens is that it actually can develop like a mold or bacteria in it to hinder the runnability of the equipment.
Well, not anymore with the low sulfur fuels. That, when you had your high sulfur fuels, that was a big problem, but
Right.
what about the NAFP standards, or have you investigated in what standards you need to follow to have a tank on wheels?
we have quite a few bids that are approved, but they're
For aviation usage.
for ABS, and they're so expensive. We're just looking at something a little more. The tank has to be, if it's on wheels, it has to be enclosed in case it leaks and nothing goes on. I mean, we're talking 20,000 on some of these things, 9,000. We had bids in on it, but we're having Howard look at something different. It's funny.
Any contact with our fire chief on the standards?
No.
He might be able to give you some help.
Okay.
All right, so anything else on airport commission from anybody?
No.
Recycling solid waste?
We had our Choose to Reuse program, and I think it was quite successful. We did things a little different, and they worked out a little better, but we still had problems, especially with guys working too slow. No, it was very successful. We didn't take in many TVs as we did in the past, or refrigerators or microwave ovens, but a lot of material. We had it cleaned up by Monday. Everything was done, and there'll be another Choose to Reuse in the town of Saratoga, the same way we do in the town of Grand Rapids on the 21st of June. That's a Saturday, I believe it is. Yeah. So, and as far as we're going to have a meeting, we couldn't have it this week because Carol Davis is on vacation. But I did attend a public meeting at the city on a public works, and advanced disposal was there, and they discussed the contract with the city, and the city is willing to, sit down with the town of Grand Rapids if it would like, and, discuss something that they're looking at, so. I'm gonna invite them to the meeting when we have it. It'll probably be next week sometime, when Carol gets back.
Did you pursue any of the letters that were given to the committee for the bid process? Or
Yes, we have them, and that's what we're going to be reviewing.
Okay.
Yes,
Gotta keep moving on that, otherwise
Okay.
December will sneak up on us. Anything else?
no, that'll be it.
Any questions from anybody else? Plan Commission, Patty?
Yes, Plan Commission met May 19th, and we discussed garage in a box and default zoning for parcels coming out of agricultural due to the size of the parcel. Garage in the box, we really didn't come to any conclusion really on that, and the default zoning for parcels coming out of agricultural, it was decided not to do any type of default zoning. It was just to stick with what we're currently doing because of the intensity of what would have to be performed in order to go to default zoning. Also, a recommendation from the commission to the town board was approved regarding revision to the town's land division ordinance, ordinance number 51, which we talked about. And then we also met on June 9th, and the commission recommended to the town one conditional use permit, and also brought before the commission was a request for rezoning on a couple of parcels, which we spoke about this evening. And the comprehensive plan was reviewed, and regarding the parcels, it was decided that no changes were required to the comprehensive plan, which we discussed this evening.
Okay, legislative, or I should ask if there was questions. Legislative, I guess there's no update other than we did provide a few documents at this meeting, which were updates to that. Judy, what do we have on our list? We have 4 or 5 items yet, or where are we down? We have,
Yeah, we got a
we
few
have the
things.
firearm ordinance. Mel, are you moving forward on that firearm area?
I have to check with our, my map guy over at the county and see where he's at on that.
Okay. If you'd follow up on that when we get something, then we probably want to get something moving.
I got the speed limits.
Speed limit signs, and then we have pretty much a request here for looking at some no parking signs that we could probably look at too. So we could probably get a legislative, and as soon as Mel's got some data for us to look at. Mel?
Can I make a suggestion for it? See what you think on regulating the distribution of manure by irrigation?
Okay, we can put that on the list.
Adams County has passed a moratorium on it. They're the only county in the state or any municipality that has. I think it's something to look at.
Okay, we'll add that to the list. Anything?
Manure by what?
By irrigation.
By spray irrigation.
Okay, nothing else on legislative,
We didn't really resolve this one, Bill. That's another one that.
no, Dan is, that's in his economic development committee.
Yep.
That's where.
Is that where it went?
Yeah, he can maybe
Okay.
update us when he gets, he's next after this one. Public safety?
Public safety hasn't met, but I'm hoping to get a meeting planned for towards the end of this month, because it's been a couple months since we've met with both the fire and police chief.
Okay. Questions? None? Economic development, Dan?
Okay, yes, we are furthering the discussion with the snowmobile trail people. The residents have asked me to attend a neighborhood meeting with them to address their concerns. We are continuing to work on it right now before the fall or winter starts. It doesn't come up to October, November, and then we're making corrections. So we're working on it. We are trying to get together with the Reggie group to get an update on that, and we've been playing phone tag, so we'll continue on that. We'll hopefully have a meeting on that shortly.
Personnel committee, Kathy, we didn't have anything, did we?
Knock on wood, no personal issues. We have talked about how we'd like to meet to maybe try and create some formal performance eval system or process that could take place, but unless we have some other pressing issues, we didn't feel it was necessary to call a meeting.
Okay. Bill?
Could I suggest that this per diem issue be on your agenda the next time? Present something to the town board, clearing up that language?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, reports from individual town board members, starting your way, Bill?
One thing I would like to know about this that we got, how does one handle that? I mean,
We actually had, the first call was from Chuck Neinfeld over there, and the area is owned by the state. It's mowed by the county, but the county can only mow it when the state tells them to. Rick had conversation with Wood County to see if we could move the process up. Residents have asked that if we would go on and mow it, and no, we can't. We have to stay off it. It's not our responsibility as much as I say we would go over, whack it down and be done with it. I did get a chance to run that way tonight on the way home. $20 fine. To see if it had got taken care of yet, but we were hoping that it was being taken care of by the county, which was supposed to take care of it, but they claim they can't move till the state tells them to. Anything else, Bill?
Oh, yes, I don't know if you know that we all got a copy of this. And there's many mistakes in that, even including for the town of Grand Rapids. You are still on the airport commission.
So if we get phone calls, you know why.
Forward. They're on there, 3 other people that are now longer on there are not on there, so. There's a lot of mistakes in this. It was put out by the city, not us. That's it, thank you.
Yeah?
Yeah, a couple things. I did have the chance this year, first time ever, to help Bill and Patty with that choose to reuse, and I thought it was absolutely phenomenal what you guys do at first time. Well, Shirley was right there too, but absolutely the things that people brought in and took, I was dumbfounded, but if they use it, God bless them, because we really had, sometimes those cars were lined up on 2 mile. What you guys do there is pretty neat, so thank you. And then the other one was for our chief. Last month's training, we started training more with Buren Fire Department, which, again, as a member, I attended. Absolutely phenomenal way those departments work together, and I know Don and Chief Wilkie work together, and just commend them for getting this thing started, because it was excellent, and I know we're doing more, so thanks. It really is going to be beneficial to both communities.
Was that the grant school process?
Yep.
I mean, they spent a lot of time going through the theories as to how you would even begin to fight a fire in a school. I mean, everybody has their idea. You drown and drown, but
Yep.
that's not the way you do it. And I mean, you look at the different scenarios, and there's a lot of time involved in that.
And just the communication between the 2 departments and the personnel working together. You know, this is excellent. This is the way this community needs to start looking. That's the start. That's all.
Betty?
So, you skipped over me with public buildings?
Yeah, really?
Yes, you did.
I checked you off though.
Yes.
You may get your public really.
Okay,
They don't get free.
all right, yeah. So, public buildings, in case
Oh
any of
yeah,
you...
we got a broken window, don't we?
Yeah, the front door side window was broken last Friday, and the police department reviewed the security cameras and concluded that it was not vandalized. We could have had a chip prior to the cracking, and it just began to spider crack, or maybe the lawnmower threw a rock, but it happened, so Rick worked with me, and Chief Bone stopped in, you stopped, so we got her all covered up. So anyways, I checked with 3 glass window companies and found that the window needs to be special ordered, and the most cost-effective and quickest repair will come to $569.77, and the window should be here next Thursday, is what they're hoping. The caulking of the municipal building will begin tomorrow on 6/11. The selection of the metal cap for the municipal building was done today, and work will begin with the metal cap as soon as the caulker's done on the back wall. The back door to the municipal building has been installed, and I'm currently working with the company that installed the door to get a little better seal on the door. He's gonna look into different types of sealing or a sealer and get back to me with costs on that because the door originally came in with just that type of standard. So I'm working with him. Windows for the police department will be delivered approximately 6:26 and they will notify me when they're ready to install. And I'll work with the chief to make sure that the desk and the department's secure for when they have it installed. It should probably take a day to do is what they're saying. I also asked about the heat, if we'll notice a difference in the temperature in there, and she feels that we'll be able to see a difference in that. So I'm still thinking about the,
Shading?
yeah, the shading of
We'll see.
that. Fire station, the brick will be repaired. They promised me no later than the middle of July.
Okay.
That's it.
We probably need to schedule a meeting because there was another list presented to you, right? Okay. You want to check your schedule?
Sure.
Back to me. All right, two things I have. Thursday is the airport commission, ambulance board meeting. That's at 7 p.m. here. If any of you are interested, I'm on the committee with typically the chairmans from each of the municipalities, and our ambulance provider will be here to give us updates as to how things are going with their business. So the only other thing I have is just one correction. From a couple of meetings ago, it was noted that that during an appointment by the preceding chairman that I voted against it. I checked the records and I didn't vote against any committee appointments that the previous chairman had voted, and I just want the record to be clear of that. Just a simple correction. And Judy, you got anything tonight? Okay, Kathy?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have two things. One, I don't have a report, but I do have a comment I'd like to share with the viewing public and those in attendance. I'll be brief. I have had several people, both in and outside of Grand Rapids, contact me about last month's meeting when I asked Supervisor Clendenning and Supervisor Lumby about their opposition to the chairman's recommendation for committee appointments. My intent was not to be disrespectful of their vote or opinion. I only wanted to understand their basis to oppose the appointment, given the qualifications and the experience of the individuals named. Patty did respond, and I appreciated that, and I thank you again for having shared your thoughts with me. Bill claimed I was out of order and verbally expressed contempt towards my request, which surprises me considering the fact Supervisor Clendenning had the same request of a county board member at the April county board meeting. Bill said at that meeting, constituents are owed an explanation of our vote. He accused another county board member of making a personal vote and then sat back down in his chair. I agree with you, Bill. Constituents are owed some transparency in why we're placing opposition to a vote. That was the only reason I asked that question last month. So having said that, I feel better now. I needed to get off my chest. I needed to answer questions to people who have not contacted me. I need them to know that I do agree. I think there's a lesson to be learned here, that we can be more transparent in our actions. The public expects and deserves that. And more importantly, we can find better ways of being civil in our response of questions that are asked of us.
All right, the next agenda item is 29.
I had one other thing.
Point.
On a positive note, I want to thank the fire chief and the police chief and commend their officers and their members of their departments for everything they've done in keeping our town safe. It goes back to exactly what you commented about earlier, being third safest community in the state.
Okay, now, I'm sorry to cut you off.
That's okay.
Any items for the next agenda? Otherwise, the clerk and myself will do our best. Hearing,
What were we
yeah.
gonna do?
Do you want
We're
the,
going to discuss this, add one of our
Yeah,
agendas?
we can
Okay.
put it on.
would you like us to meet as personnel to draft something up and then bring it back here and then we'd have a full
That's what
discussion
Bill
of the
asked.
board?
Yeah.
Because that's what Bill asked, is give it to
Yeah.
personnel.
And I think
draft
that'd be
something.
wise, and save us a lot of time
Wait.
back and forth.
Okay.
All right. All right, we'll do that and put that on both our agendas. Then I guess it would be to item 30. The town board is going to need to move into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85 print run to the C, consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employees over which the governing body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility for the purpose of discussing employee performances. I would accept the motion for somebody to do that.
I will make a motion.
And motion being seconded.